All right, welcome to this brand new course on prototyping here in Figma. Now, before we can begin to actually prototype, we need to have more than just a single artboard here or a single page. So we're going to reuse this same design that we worked with here in the last few lessons, and we're going to create a second page. So in the context of this layout, what happens when somebody clicks on download brochure? Now, typically, there might be just a PDF file that downloads automatically when they click it, but we're going to make the assumption we're going to a new page to capture an email, and then it will download a PDF or something like that. So what we want to do before we begin to replicate or duplicate this artboard, we want to make sure that things that need to be components should be components. For instance, this logo is a component. This is a component. We're also saving assets or styles in terms of typography. So for instance, if I break this, this is a headline. Maybe we want to reuse this headline, the same exact font, color, etc. Perhaps throughout the different areas of the app or the different pages. Then we want to select it. We want to come over here to this icon. We want to hit plus to create a style. I would call this one headline. I've already created it, so I'm just going to select that. And the button, we're not going to create a component out of that yet because we're going to save that for a little bit later on in this course when it comes to creating micro interactions and really dynamic buttons. But for everything else, there's a few other things like I've created an actual paragraph style for this area because we're going to reuse that as well. All right, so we're going to go ahead and just simply Control D to duplicate that. And we're going to have a download section or page rather. So this is what's going to happen when somebody clicks on download. It's going to go over to this brand new page. So we actually haven't yet in this course talked about designing for sub pages, and it's all about trying to maintain a consistent aesthetic in terms of all UI design fundamentals that you're using, your typography, your spacing, the actual style of the design. You want it to feel coherent and cohesive. So we're not going to change a bunch of stuff. We're just going to change the layout when necessary and also the content. So for this, we're going to have a headline. Usually most sub pages will have a headline of some sort. And so we're going to just type in download here. Now sometimes when you see this big bounding box here and you just have a single word, you could come over here and we can just click on this resizing auto width icon. Now the download brochure button, we're just going to move that off, and we have some options, and these are subjective preferences that we can make dealing with our first subpage. So we can move this up right here, and we'll push it all the way down. We can get rid of this, by the way, and perhaps we're going to use this aesthetic where we have just completely white up at the top. We'll have the download or the label or the heading rather above this, and then we'll have content in this kind of really light purple that fits with our color scheme. You could completely do that if you wish, or you could just you could actually just go all white. So really subjective preferences. It's about reinforcing the brand identity or the visual identity of the brand. So you are reusing different colors that are consistent with the color scheme as well. So this right here, we find it on here. We can also include it here. So I suppose right here we could put a paragraph of some sort where we describe why we're going to collect an email, what is contained within the brochure, something simple like that. So we'll go ahead and we have a few options. We could just get the type tool out and start typing. We could come over here. We can copy that type over there and just paste it in. And you may want to get your grid out to make sure we're going to extend it exactly where it needs to be. And of course, I'm also minding my white space and all the other fundamentals that we need to concern ourselves with. So notice there's a certain amount of white space here and here. Maybe we'll drag these things out. And that looks pretty good. And now I already have some text saved offside on my reference monitor. So just to gain access to our brochure, please provide us with your email address. We will dispatch an email containing a downloadable PDF. It's very simple. and it works. And this is also based on the same type style right here of paragraph. So we're reusing our paragraph settings from the first screen. So this is important for consistency. So let's go ahead and bring back our button here. Download brochure. You could reuse the same exact type or send me the PDF, something like that. Anything other than just putting submit or something like that. You want to actually describe the action that's going to occur when it comes to your button design. Now, also, we're going to have a little form here for collecting the email. Just a form, kind of a text area or text field rather. So what we can do is just duplicate that. We'll delete this, and then we are going to change the fill to white. And it's pretty low contrast here between this element and this element. So what we want to do is we can add a stroke, and we can grab this color, and I would say this color could possibly be like a focus state, and maybe make it a little bit thicker for that focus state, or we could come down right around here at AEA0CC for that hex color code if you want to follow along exactly. And this would give us enough contrast to create that distinction between these two elements. So additionally, we want to also include a label. So for that, we'll go ahead and we'll simply duplicate this text real quick. Email address. We'll come back here to the type options and choose auto width. We'll go ahead right here and change the fill to black and also bold. So we could detach this instance. We can change this to bold. And I'm pretty happy with that. In terms of the size, we have good typographic visual hierarchy or separating these various elements. And then we could also take this and create a style out of it. We can call this label or form label. There we go. So remember, the importance of using these type styles is we want to be able to, if, for instance, if we have a client or an employer or just ourselves, and we have many artboards, not just the two that we have here, if we wanted to make an adjustment, we only have to do it in one place. So we could just click on headline, and then we can come out here, and let's say we want to change the headline font size from 41 to, let's say, 35. It'll change it in both areas in which, or any areas that the text has that same style applied to it. Okay, so this right here is looking pretty solid to me for a subpage. And so now in the next lesson, we're going to actually create a connection and start talking about actual prototyping.